and that it flows professionally as you are doing that. Okay.
All right, now we're recording
now. Yeah.
All right. So again, make sure you're accessing your templates. Make sure you understand that everything you write has to be referenced. These are research papers. They are about action research. Opinion, journal writing is not appropriate here. Technical writing only. You don't write in the first person. You write in the third person passive. That's all under ALA, the guide that we have for you. Hopefully, this is an add-on class, and so hopefully in your first master's degree, hopefully you learn to write ALA format or you use something. But you know, in professional writing, we don't write in the first person. We write in third person passive. Now, I had a couple other questions that came in this week. Should I put people's names and school names? Folks, this stuff is all public information. When you're writing about the background setting of your school, if you think people don't know what your test scores are and what your report card looks like, you're sadly mistaken. It's not a secret to anybody where you are and what things are. If the scores didn't matter, we wouldn't keep them. So this notion that should I put my school name, trying to protect the innocent, no, it doesn't work that way. We want your school name. We want to see your data. It's all public information, folks. And next semester, when we get to 603, I'm going to have you go get your school budget and your school improvement plan. And when your principal tells you, oh, we don't give those out, then you're going to call me and I'm going to go to your school and say, I am an interested party in your community. The law says you must provide that to me. So there are no secrets in this business. Julie and I talked at length today. All this stuff is public information today. Everybody knows where you are. We're trying to involve communities because everybody knows what your scores and what your circumstance is. And if you work at a place that doesn't release information, then you know that's the problem. So yes, I want the name of your school. I want the names of people who are on your PLC. I want to know what their qualifications are, other than they were handy.
Yeah, because we can go to your website and we can see who works at your schools or works in your district.
Mm-hmm. I know you don't believe us, but we actually read these things. That's the actual joy of this job, is getting to sit down and read these things and see what's going on in your schools. That's the part we like, is reading the evidence artifacts. So yes, we do read them. And yes, we've been to probably about every school in either of the two states. And probably we've had an intern at your school, either in this iteration of this program or one previous to this one. I've only been retired for 8 years from the state, but working full-time for Gardner Webb, but I worked 15 part-time before that. So I've been with Gardner Webb, according to them, for 23 years. So I've probably been to your school or had a student at your school or had a doctoral student or a master's student somewhere nearby. So, it helps me make a connection to know what you're doing. It also speaks to us about the appropriateness of the things that you're doing at your school. So make sure that, yes, you include this information. So let's get started tonight. I want to share my screen. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Get back to my desktop here and move my toolbar out of the way. All right, so I am going to go in, instead of having all my documents open tonight as I normally do, I'm going to go in. When we refer to the candidate, must the pronoun always follow he or she or one? Well, you're not in EDCI anymore. We're going to use school names. You are going to report who your school is. So that we can go back and look at the data ourselves. I don't know how else we would know your most pressing need unless we go back and look and see. But that kind of helps us with the idea of how well you're doing. You will put your school name. That is not a problem. That is not a violation of ethics or purple law. You will put your school, because we're only using public information. Use your school name. All right. So when you go into your shell, somehow we've had people who have had problems doing this. So I'm going to go into my courses here. I want you to start with app cell template and materials. If you will click on that link, it'll take a second. Now, it doesn't work as fast when I'm recording like this. It works faster. That's why I have everything up on the screen usually, but I've got students who claim they can't find the stuff that I've got in here. So right here it is. Your evidence narrative template is right here. And then here are 3 references on PLCs, norms, and DE4. We'd like for you to add more to that, but we're getting you started here on your first one. The idea is we don't do anything from our opinion. Everything is research. Everything is research. How you set up and go about running your PLC. These will give you some ideas. There's a lot more research on PLCs. There's some more modern stuff out there. This is the original stuff that's kind of generated all the rest of the stuff. And so you need, for historical perspective, you need to read these 3. Now, there's more and better and newer stuff that you can leave, but nobody should ever start in the school business and start talking about instructional reform without going back and reading DE4. Because this is the seminal work on PLCs. This is actually what started the movement. I'm going to answer these 2 questions.
Dr. Lamb, click on PLC norms. I want you to just click on it.
Right there it is.
Okay, several people are saying that it shows an error message, and if it does, you can still click on something and it'll open up.
Well, my suspicion is they're working off tablets or they're working off of Apple products, both of which you're told specifically are not completely compatible with Blackboard.
I've gone into all the classes and they all open up when I go into the shells to try to open them up.
So they're the ones on a Mac, but the link works for them. Probably if you're on a school one, you probably got a pop-up blocker on it. But you can see I just opened it right up. And we've had a lot of people that it works fine for them. It's your technology is what I'm telling you. You need to go back and see if you've got a pop-up blocker on your computer, or if you're using a school district computer that won't let you open up documents that they don't know what they are. My suggestion always was, when you start this program, is buy you a laptop of your own. Don't use a school system laptop. They're not but $350. But if you're using a school district laptop, you're always going to have problems opening. If you're having problems with this one, you'll always have problems. And if you're using a tablet, brand new laptop, you got to get your pop-up blocker turned off then. MacBook Pro, error message, personal computer, yeah. But I scrolled to the bottom and it worked, Joy said. Yeah, there's another one. Melissa's exactly right. Use a different browser. If you're using Microsoft Edge, which goes with Windows 10, it's probably not going to open. You may have to use either Chrome or Safari. Switch browsers and see if it'll open. But for whatever reason, the browser versus the pop-up blocker combination, school computer, there's 1,000 reasons why it won't open. But try a different browser combination until you find one, because you can see it. I don't have any problem. So Shaquanda says she's using Chrome and it's working. And so different browsers, different pop-up blockers, different types. iPads are death on Blackboard. They don't, and even worse on TaskStream. So if you're trying to use an iPad and it won't open, I don't know that you'll ever find a setting where it'll work on an iPad.
Dr. Lamb, I want them to try to figure it out first because with future
I mean,
problems,
we,
they
we
need
can
to work it
send it
out.
out.
But I'll send it out again. If you can't get it to open, just send me an email and I will send it to
Yeah,
you
he'll
again.
send
But
it.
try to get it to work because you don't want this to be a continuous problem.
No, no. So let me get some of this stuff out of the way so we can see here. Strategy for establishing team norms. See, now one of the reasons why we want you to see this one is we want you to use this when you form your PLC, but we also want you to use it when you're working in your Zoom teams. How do you establish norms when working with your Zoom teams? If you will establish norms and everybody agree to those up front, we won't have to referee so many fights, Twitter fights or whatever these things are called online. I, I've got more to do than to referee, this kind of stuff. So use these norms to set up your Zoom teams as well. A strategy for establishing team norms, tips, examples. We will maintain a positive tone in our meetings. We will not complain about a problem unless we can offer a solution. Okay. We will begin and end our meetings on time and stay fully engaged. We will contribute equally to the workload of this team. We will listen respectfully and consider matters from another's perspective. All right, so those are examples. I've also got some SMART goals here. And some worksheets and some things like that you don't really have to do, but you might want to if you have people who aren't holding up their end of the bargain. So you need to make sure that you see this one, not only for the app sale, but also for establishing your PLC, but also for your Zoom teams. All right. All right. So back to app sale template and materials. All right. Now, everybody should download this template and start with it. Again, let me say that again. Everybody should download this template and start with it.
Dr. Lamb?
Yes.
Can I pose a suggestion? Just as far as people who are having issues with the individual documents, since we already have to work with our Zoom teams anyway, it might just be a good idea to be able to like touch base with those people, and at least one of the people in your five team members should be able to get you the same documents, even because they're on Blackboard, as opposed to continuing to like say that you don't have access to it. Like just hit up one of your team members, and I know that I wouldn't mind sending it to you if you're having issues.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, going forward, if something doesn't open for you, just ask your team members. You can email us. We'll send it to you. No, let me amend that. Email Dr. Stedman. He'll send it to you.
While you're bringing that up, let me go ahead and let them know if you are in the C10 class or the C12 class, you need to look at the Zoom teams. Several of the students were taken out of the classes due to program changes. So it required us having to go back in and look at the Zoom team. So there has been some changes in the Zoom team for C10 and C12 that was effective the last 30, 40 minutes. So you need to go back in and look. We had no choice but to change them to make sure that there was enough people in each group. So go back and look. It's early enough, and sometimes you have to do that. So go back in the C10 and the C12 group and look at the changes that have been made. We had to combine some teams because of losing several students in some of those groups.
All right. Now, remember, what's in black stays here. The only caveat to that, is where it says your name here. You replace it with your name. This is an IQ test. The first one of these that I get with your name here still on it, we will make sure that we recognize you with a special prize on our next Zoom session. So you replace your name here with your name. Everything in black stays. Highlighted areas in yellow, those are directions. Those are the notes. Add your text here. Red is a reminder, and you delete it. All in black stays. So the school profile, that's where you add your information. It's in black, so leave it. You can take the yellow off of it, but add your school profile. Leave the task description. Leave the prompt description. PLC research. I've got notes about what that should be. Take the red out and add the information.
Dr. Lamb, you're coming in and out.
Okay, I probably got my hand in front of the computer here. I'm on a weak signal. The candidate leads the PLC meeting to discuss PLC's vision and purpose. Criteria for the PLCs, identify the strengths of its team members. All of these must be sections. And don't just put math teacher. That's not a criteria for selecting them. I want to know what they've done, what they do, what their background, what their qualifications are. And then task 2, everything in black stays again. Black stays, take the yellow off of it, add your information, your data collection strategy. What was your criteria, your team norms for setting how you're going to pick your most pressing need? Collaborative data analysis, most pressing need. I need to see references. I need to see work, reading that you've done, research. I don't need just to see. I think I like PLCs.
Dr. Lamb,
but that's that's in the past. That you like them or dislike them is immaterial. You got to show us evidence that they work and that you know how to set them up and to run them. That you have done the appropriate due diligence in your research methodology. These are research papers. They are not journal activities.
Dr. Lamb, as a reminder, you need to remember that at the end of this program, all of this will eventually be submitted to TaskStream. Once it goes into TaskStream, this is what goes to DPI for your certification purposes. The people at DPI actually, they don't look at everybody's, but they randomly select and they go through these to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do as an accredited institution to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to. So this is what goes to DPI for your certification at the end of the process.
4 out of 10 will be read by DPI, 40% minimum. We don't know which 40%. So every one of them's got to be good. And everyone has to fit the rubric. And everyone has, when the graders grade these, not only will a state grader assess it, then it's going to be assessed at DPI as well. They do that for inter-rater reliability on their people that grade these things. So there's 2 checks. There's 2 fidelity checks. Number 1, to make sure that we're teaching you the right things. And number 2, to make sure the graders are grading them the right way. So,
Dr. Stadman.
I think somebody's calling you, Dr. Stedman. Hello? Hello?
Go ahead, Dr. Lamb, and then I'll chime in after you.
Well, I think she was asking you a question. I don't know why mine is our
the collaborative data analysis. She wanted an explanation about what goes in that area.
Okay.
What are we looking for?
All right. So did you do that?
No, we haven't responded. I was going to let you respond, and I was going to respond after you because you were already there. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. What would go under collaborative data analysis is tell us about when you sat down and what you did as a group to look at data.
It's the disaggregation of the data. Once you get your team together, actually, what are you doing? What are you talking about? It's you're putting in narrative form what happens in that meeting with your team when you look at the data. What are the ahas? What is being revealed? What
All right.
you just put it in narrative form, actually what you're talking about in the meeting.
Let's start from the beginning. Data collection strategies. How are you going to get your data? Where are you going to go to get it? What data are you going to get? Then what is your system for picking what's more important than something else? What are your norms? What are your values? What do you value? What's more important, math or science, reading or math? What criteria are you using to pick your most pressing need? And then
you would answer the why in that as well.
Look at your data. Then you sit down among yourselves. You've already collected your data. You've decided what's going to be important. Then you sit down and you look at your data and you do a collaborative analysis. Is this more important than that? How bad is this? How bad is that? How much work would it be to get this fixed? Is this too big for us to tackle? Those are the kinds of things that you've got to figure out on your own. It won't just jump up in your pocket. It's not always going to be that easy. And if this is truly a collaborative process, the PLC members have a voice in this.
Right. Kerry, what you're writing there is actually everything that you put out on the table. You're just writing it out. What is everybody saying? And then at the end of the day, after everybody has said what they need to say, then you're going to come to a consensus from that, and that is where your most pressing need is going to come from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to me, I don't know about to them. I hope it does.
Yes.
I just got a message from.
Thanks, Kerry.
That helped a lot. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right. Somebody wants to know, being asked to log in with my Microsoft account. The person that's being asked, well, I don't guess they can get in. I don't know if they can get in this or not. So if you're being asked to type in your Microsoft account, type in your Gardner Webb email.
And Kerry, these are things that even when you're working on things, any of you can reach out to me at any time, and I don't mind, if it's a one-on-one thing. If you're working on something and you run into I may not be where I can answer right then, but I will answer as soon as I can. So it's okay to reach out to me on those things.
Thank you.
Right. Task 3. Once you have figured out what your problem is, then you got to go try to find the solution to that problem. You start researching best practices. You create a literature review, kind of an outline of what you're going to be looking for. And then you do an annotated bibliography of 6 of the things that you found. This is a action research-based paper. We analyze our data. We find our problems. We come to we do analytics. Analytics means we analyze collaboratively what our data is, what it tells us. But we had to set our criteria up front as to what we said was going to be important. Once we do that and we figure out what our most pressing need is, then we have to go do our research, our due diligence, to try to find a solution to our problem that's actually doable. You heard that last part. That's actually doable. There's a lot of solutions floating around out there. If you got $4 or $5 million, that's not viable for this project. So the notion here is we're going to find something that we can use to try to fix this problem, that we have the resources to spend on that process or that project or that program, treatment, or fix, that we actually have the resources in hand that we can do this. And now I want to see a section that says literature review. And then I want to see, under prompt 1, I want to see annotated bibliography.
That's the one that in the past students have messed up on, where they did one or the other. Make sure you and look at it and do it correctly the first time, because that is the one thing that we will send it back. I'm not even going, if it's not right, I'm not even going to take my time to read it. I'm going to send it back and just say this is not correct, fix it, and send it back to me. So work on it.
The literature review is the first section of the annotated bibliography. Yay! Somebody has done APA before. The literature review is the first section of the annotated bibliography. That's how you start. It's an overview, the literature review, and then you go to the annotated bibliography of the articles you select. The literature review kind of tells us what you looked at, where you went, what you looked at. And here are the articles that I pulled for us to focus on. Now, somebody asked, what's the difference between criteria and collaboration? Criteria is what's important. We set those are kind of our norms, our values for our PLC. What do we think is important in this data? And then collaboration is when we sit down and as a group, we start disaggregating the data and doing the numbers, the totals, looking at the outcomes. For some reason, we have this notion that when we get the data, it'll all be very clear and it'll just jump off the page and everybody will agree what our problem is. It rarely works that way in real life. Rarely. Everybody, well, I think this is important. Well, you see, you got to decide those things before you even start looking at the data. Is reading more important than math? Is this grade level more important than that one? Is this, if this, then, and then that. It's a system that you have to work through. It's not as easy as you would think it might be. All right. And so then you do your data presentation. Charts, remember, charts, tables, graphs are all called figures. We want to see charts, tables, and graphs when you present your data. We want to know that you didn't just pull the rabbit out of the hat, that you actually had a rhyme and reason. You had hard numbers that told us why you made the choices that you made. We're going to make these decisions based on qualitative data, the hard numbers. Now, when you get in real PLCs, a lot of times you get personal pleas and people's ideas and opinion. Those are qualitative. They're just emotional. They're dispositional. That is not what we're doing. Action research here. Action research is quantitative, based on numbers from a validated measure, a standardized test. Let me say that again. Based on a validated measure, which means a standardized test. This is no place for people to be, well, I think, to plead their emotion and get all that. This is only about the numbers. Can you look at the numbers and make a cold calculating decision without adding the emotional part of it in, the qualitative dispositional piece? Can you look at the data and face the numbers? Trust me, folks, your numbers are out there in public. If you think people aren't looking, then you're fooling yourself. People know what your numbers are. You better know what they are, and you better understand it's your job to try to change them and make them better. All right. What is a good resource for creating our charts and graphs? Microsoft Word. They have all the charts and graphs that you need are embedded in Microsoft Word. That is, everybody understands you're going to be using Microsoft Word. And so you can come up here just like me. You can do Excel, but it's actually easier if you're using. See right here, you can add tables in right here. You can add 3D model shapes. You can do charts right here, right there. There's you a bar graph right there, or line chart. You can do all you need between tables and charts right here. You can actually even make pie charts. You can make everything you need right here. Right here from the insert insert page of Microsoft Word. You can also, there's also some other places to go to that have more advanced functions. But again, the table right here and the charts right there are all you need. And a lot of times you're going to be doing a copy and paste off websites. They're very easy to use. They're very user friendly. If you want to insert a table, I mean, you can just, and you can draw it and do whatever you want to with it. You can delete it. I mean, it's really easy to add them and delete them. As many cells as you want. Charts, you can do pie charts, bar graph. I mean, really simple stuff that's really effective and powerful in displaying data. Shouldn't take you very long to do that. But that's where you go and get it. But again, thank you for who. The literature review is the first section of an annotated bibliography. It kind of gives us a history of what you looked at before you picked the 6 things that you showed us. What did you go and look at, and why? Why'd you go look at those things? It links back to your most pressing need. My most pressing need was this, so I looked at these areas. And here are the articles that I picked. It's just that simple. We're doing an action research paper. We don't have you take 602 in this sequence because that's our action research, because you were supposed to have had an action research course in your master's degree program. So I hope that you had some kind of a research or inquiry course where you were taught how to do action research using the scientific method, because that's what we're doing here. We'll be doing this in all of them. It's just something you need to learn. We got a person that can't get any sound. Hopefully when you get the recording, it'll have the sound on it. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Again, you need to debug your technology. If you'll email one another links and of your group, you can kind of debug your technology before class time. We hadn't got to peer review yet. Let's stay on task now. Let's focus on what we're doing here. We're at task 3. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You do your annotated bibliography. The literature review is the first section, and then you will detail how the PLC created and used multiple graphic organizers and visuals and embedded them into the narrative. And then you will write your action plan in task 4. You will write it narratively to begin with. The importance, the alignment. I should see sections with these titles. And then you will summarize it in the graphic organizer. Now, some of you like to do PERT charts. I don't like PERT charts. I will allow you to use them, but now I'm going to tell you, it better be a complete one, and it better be the best one I've ever seen. You're much better off to use the graphic organizer. Much better off to use the graphic organizer. And I'll tell you why. You're going to need it later on. Next summer, if you've used the graphic organizer to summarize your action plan in the app cell, the growth plan in the app cell, the marketing plan in the skip, and the cultural advocacy plan in the cap, if you have used the graphic organizer, when it comes to 605 next summer, you're going to thank me. If you used a PERT chart, you're going to hate me. So if I were you, I would learn to use this now, because you're going to have to put all these together in 605 in the SOP, in task 5 of the SOP. You're going to have to put all these together into a graphic organizer. You need to do it now. You'll be better off, because you have to have a graphic organizer that is the working copy of your school improvement plan. That's what this is. We'll have one of these for each of the areas that we cover. If you go ahead and do it now, you'll be much better off rather than wait till then. Let's not talk about peer review yet. We're going to get to peer review. I need everybody to focus on what we're going to do before we get to peer review. I'm concerned now that we're not catching on to using the template. I'm concerned that we're writing in first person. I'm concerned that we don't understand that these are research papers based on APA format. We're too focused on other things that the quality of the work has to come first. All right. Anybody have any questions on the template, on what you're expected to do and what it's supposed to look like? Download this and use it.
Dr. Lamb, I don't know how much more. Do not deviate from that. As he said, download, use it, fill in the blanks with your information, follow it exactly as it is provided for you, and you'll be okay. Or you should be okay. No, it's not due Sunday. Your only due Sunday is you're putting it in for discussion, and it's only task 1. Go back and look at week 2 and what is due at the end of week 2. Okay. Then we'll stress that again, Marquita, at the end for everybody.
All right, Dr. Stedman, you can go to peer review now.
Sir?
You can go to peer review.
Okay. Go to the peer review. Go into Blackboard. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, let's be reminded that you must have communicated. Well, you should have communicated with the Zoom groups as they were established. Now, groups C10 and C12, you will need to look and see the changes that have been made. There was one group that had to be combined with 3 other groups, so you need to look at who you're with, and it doesn't matter because you've not worked with any of these groups anyway. So if it's entirely different than what you looked at before, don't worry about that. Work with the group that you've been assigned to. Again, if you don't see your name or if you see an error somewhere, communicate with me and let me know, and I'll take care of it. So just work with me one-on-one, and I'll fix the Zoom. Don't worry, Dr. Lamb, with this. Just worry me with this, with the Zoom groups. Dr. Lamb, if you will come on down and just click on in Blackboard, click on the peer reviews and the peer review materials. Peer review materials, yes.
Somebody who said something was due on 9/2 didn't read the assignments correctly. There was nothing due on 9/2. That would be the normal Sunday when things were due. What was due on 9/2 on September 2nd was your information in discussion board. And
that was it.
That was it. So we're not reading again. I'm not sure that we're reading our assignments correctly. Need to read these things verbatim and understand what was due 9/2 was your information there. There were no artifact work due on 9/2.
And if you turned it in, either Dr. Lamb and I gave you a 1 out of 1, just simply because we checked to see that you had done what we asked you to do. That's all that was. Remember, he said it was a test just to see if you were going to follow the directions.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here are your Zoom teams. If you're in my C10 section, I think.
And again, that was changed this afternoon, Dr. Lamb, because of the people that had dropped out of your class.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, they did. They
were not dropped out of class. They changed to another section, something else.
We're changing them to something else.
And there were several in this group that had to. Yeah. This was the biggest change because of the number that had to be moved somewhere else. Okay, click on the Mels peer review process. Okay, now you should have already, we asked you to go through all of this in Blackboard yourself. This is the peer review feedback template. This is what you will use. And remember, you will be looking at in your Zoom groups. This is why you've got to get together as a group, because you will decide, based on who's in your group, who's going to look at which. Everybody needs to be looking at two of your peers' work. And you've got to decide as a group, okay, I'm going to look at this one, and I'm going to look at this one, and I'm going to look at this one. And it could change over the course of time, but there's got to be some order and organization to this. So you've got to get together as a group, and you've got to establish this. Now, you see who the Zoom groups are. Don't sit around waiting on everybody. Somebody's got to take the lead. So somebody, you take the leadership role. You go ahead and say, we need to have a Zoom. You go ahead and set up a Zoom session, and have your group, to meet at that time, and then you move forward with establishing the norms when you're going to meet on a pretty regular basis. And again, who is going to do, which student is going to look at which student's work. You've got to decide that in your Zoom group, so that everybody's not doing the same two people. Everybody's got to have their work reviewed. This is the but that's the form that you will be using every time. Now, Dr. Lamb, scroll back up a little bit. Okay, if you look at the areas, once you look at it, look at the first one. This is what you're looking at. When you look at the student's work, your peers' work, is the task content aligned with course content or appropriate external sources when directed to do so, or when needed to support decision, facts, and the narrative? Does the knowing influence the doing? Okay, you need to take this seriously. It's not that, and be nicely constructive with your comments, but Dr. Lamb and I don't want to look over here and feedback and say, oh, nice job, nice work, excellent. Make it mean something. It's just like when you get your summative evaluation from your administrator. You want it to mean something when you look at it, and when they sit down, they're going to provide you with some valid feedback. You need to provide valid feedback that's going to mean something to the candidate. You learn from this as well, because it causes you to look more deeply into your own work as well. And this is to be something, none of us, or none of you, you're all at different levels, but none of you are considered experts at this. That's why you're in the program, and it's a learning process. So you're going to learn from each other, and then as a result, it's going to help you become a better student, and it's really going to equip you for other things that you have to do as an administrator, because you are beginning to look at things with a more critical eye. But this is what you will use each time with two of the people in your team. Okay, Dr. I believe you. Okay, the misunderstanding or task one is due Sunday the 1st. Okay. We'll come to that. Just pay attention to this right now. Okay, this is the peer review schedule. Again, the contact information, you should have already taken care of that, but some of you are going to have to revamp that and work with the new groups that you've been assigned to, especially in the C10 and the C12 sections. This tells you step by step what you need to do as it relates to working with a peer review schedule. Absol task 2 submitted to Blackboard by Sunday night. Okay, this is week 2. We're looking at week 2. It says get contact information from your teammates and discussion board. You should have already done that, or either you're going to have to fix it with the new teams this week. And then Absol task 1 submitted to discussion board by Sunday night. Yes, and again, that means that you don't wait until Sunday night to do everything, or Sunday. You've got to begin pacing yourself throughout the week. And Carrie, I see you shaking your head. You're understanding. This is not something that you can wait until the last minute to do. And as a team, you're going to have to work on, you know, collaborating and working on, you know, when can we fit this already into our busy schedules to make it happen, because it's got to happen sometime earlier in the week in order for you to be able to get your work completed and done, you know, properly on by Sunday night. Now, we have had teams, Dr. Lamb, that they decided, you know, that Saturday morning at 10 o'clock was the best time that they could get together because of everything else. But that was a team decision. That gave them time to get their work, their Zoom, their peer reviews done and submitted on a Saturday, so that the candidates had all of Saturday night, and then Sunday up until Sunday night at 9 o'clock to look at what they needed to. You may not do anything with the peer review. You may feel very good about what you've done, and you may go ahead and submit it, you know, into Blackboard, you know, for your assessment as it is. But it does give you another set of eyes to look at it, and they may see something. Wow, I didn't see that, or they can pick up on something. So it's another set of eyes to hopefully make what you are doing and what you do submit on Sunday night look better. But yes, you've got to have, whoever does your 2 peer reviews has got to have you feedback before you can submit anything in on Sunday night. Now, what do you submit on Sunday night? You are not submitting the peer reviews that were done on you. You are submitting the peer reviews that you have done on the 2 people. I'm grading you, and Dr. Lamb is grading you on the 2 peer reviews that you are doing on the 2 people that you are assigned to work with that week. Does that make sense? Do you understand what we're saying? The 2 peer reviews are not the peer reviews that are done on you. Somebody else is going to send that, and I'm going to look at whatever Melanie does, whoever her 2 people are. I'm going to look at the 2 people that she's done. I'm going to look at the quality of work that she's done assessing those 2 people. And then I'm going to look at whoever else has assessed Melanie. I'm going to look at how they have assessed her. I'm going to grade you on how you are assessing your peers. Dr. Lamb's going to grade you on how you are assessing your peers. So they have got to have, to be able to use any feedback that you provide, you've got to get it back to your people before Sunday night. So you've got to work on a time schedule. And remember, when you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're affecting somebody else. Now, I will tell you this. If you don't get feedback on if the person does not provide you feedback, don't you let it stop you from doing your feedback and getting it on schedule on Sunday night. Don't let that stop you. However, you let me know if you are not getting feedback from somebody in your group, and then Dr. Lamb and I will deal with individuals if they're not providing proper feedback in a timely manner. Okay? Is that fair? But don't let somebody else slow you down from getting your work in on time and doing what you're supposed to do. You do your peer reviews, whether you get any feedback on yourself or not, and we will deal with those individuals. I hope I don't have to. Any questions about the peer? You understand that the task 1, you've got to move forward, and you've got to get something out there for people to look at. You've got to submit task 1 and go ahead and get something out there for people to look at so that they can begin playing with the peer review. It's not going to be perfect the first time, but do the best you can. You're working with it, and you'll get better with it as you do it. But this week, you got to get started somewhere, and you can't keep putting it off and waiting. You've got to get it done this week. So yes, we do expect you to get task 1 submitted into Blackboard for your group to look at. The final submission, when we say it's due by Sunday night at 9, that's the latest that you can get it in. You know, because we're starting a new week on Monday. So, you know, you don't have to wait until 9 o'clock. I would hope that you're not waiting until 9 o'clock, and you can get it in, you know, as you can. People work on at different paces, different schedules. And I know that even during the day, you may have time during your planning period that you're working on this. Well, you may submit something during your planning period on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. It's going to come in at different times. But you cannot wait until the last minute to do this. But I tell you again, it's important that you go ahead and meet with, that you can get things. You need to learn. You need to become comfortable with each other. And once you learn each other and become comfortable with other, things will start to think a little bit better. You've got to get on this week. I know it's busy. It's busy this week. I can't say it enough. Dr. Lamb, I need some water. Go ahead and say something.
All right. Answering questions here. I read the syllabus. Are Zoom team sessions mandatory? Yes. I don't understand that. I mean, yes. Zoom team meetings are mandatory. No, you can communicate all you want through email, but the Zoom meetings are mandatory. Virtual collaboration is a standard and a competency and a digital learning competency that you must show that you are proficient at. Zooms are not optional. You need to have a meeting to get all your housekeeping taken care of, your norms, your values, and then you have your meetings to do your actual Zoom reviews. You don't have that many. Then you're going to have to do case studies later on. You better if you can't do Zoom, then you can't be, this program is all about Zoom, about virtual collaboration, not only between us, but between you, between yourselves. So yes, everything in Zoom is required.
And don't worry about case studies right yet. You're not at a place for us to talk about them yet.
You better get competent with Zoom quickly. I read the syllabus that we have to record our first meeting and send the link to you. Where do we submit the link of our first Zoom lesson? You upload it in peer review. There's a place to put links in there just as well. You just copy and paste the link in the box. What we do if somebody in our group has not posted their contact information, let us know.
But again, be a little bit patient. Now, you need to go ahead and get that done, even with the changes. But some of the people are going to have to make some changes based on the changes that were made this afternoon.
Garcia, question is yes. For those little video images on the left in the period, do we need to have a timestamp where those are in the, no, you don't have to do that. That's just for your own edification. If you want to, if somebody asks you to do that, but no, it's not required from us. Can you delete a submission? You can in discussion board. You can't in assignment Dropbox. Let me say that again. I have done discussion boards where you upload your work for review. I have fixed those boxes where if nobody has commented on your work, you can delete it. You cannot delete work in assignment Dropbox that's posted for a grade. That does not give us that option in Blackboard. Templates under peer review materials, yeah.
May I ask a question a while ago? Matt, yes, you can use your reading coach on your PLC team.
Task 1 is due Sunday. The first peer review is due week 3. That's correct. Yes, this week, this is the end of week 2. We need to start seeing some task 1s by Sunday of this week. And then next week we need to see some task 2s, and then following week you'll peer review task 1 and 2. So sometime between now and then you need to have your first Zoom session where you get together and do all of your housekeeping activities. All right, 4 new messages. My. Looking at it again. Good. Thank you for looking at that again. Shall we upload the video link and the 2 peer reviews? Yep, you do that. Yep. That's what you do. That's what you do. Let me see if I can help one of our classmates right quick.
Dr. Lamb, just tell them I'm gonna email the PLC norms to everybody again, just to make sure that they have it.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
I met with her today. Had a great meeting with her, Dr. Lamb.
I can't find. She can't either. We can't. She's not logged in. She can't remember what her email is for Gardner Webb.
I will send it to her. I've got it. I got it in my. I wrote it down.
Okay. All right.
Get that to her.
Okay, I'll let her know. Okay. So somebody said they didn't attend last week's Zoom and can't find the archive video. The archive video will always be under the week tab.
It's under week 1.
Video from week 1 will be under under the week 1 tab. This is not a gag. This is not Who's Buried in Grant's Tomb. For the purposes of this program, Who's Buried in Grant's Tomb is Grant. It's not a gag. If you're looking for week 1 recording, it'll be under week 1. Pretty easy. Week 1. All right, let me get this. And so you're going to get in touch with Nashila.
I'm sending it to her right now.
Go ahead and send it to her. Okay. All right. What time is it? Oh, it's time to be done. All right. We've covered peer review. We've covered, can we send the person their peer review by email? Yeah, you can, but you still got to put it in the drop boxes. And you still got to put it in discussion board. You still got to put it in discussion board for them to pick it up. Because we read those as well. Not only do we read the task, we read your reviews through discussion board. And so when it goes to assignment Dropbox, we always ready to know what grade we're going to give you. Because we read it along the way. So don't exclude us. Don't use email to the exclusion of us. We have to watch what you do.
No, my question wasn't was for them to see it. We're putting it in the discussion board for them to see it in the Dropbox for you to grade it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, but we watch, when you put it in discussion board rather than email, when you put it in discussion board, we get to see it as well. We get to see what feedback you got. We get to see how you're progressing with your evaluation of their work. That's a big part of this. Not only do we get to see their work and how they're progressing, we get to see how your thought process as an evaluator is progressing as well. You understand that peer review is training you to be an evaluator of people when you get an administrative job. It's not as easy as you think it is delivering bad news. Although I kind of like it. Normal people don't. That's why we have to train you along the way to be the bearer of bad news. You have to be able to assess people's work and tell them when it sucks. Sorry for my language, but that's just the truth. You have to be able to do that. That's a big part of your job. So what we're doing is training you. This is on-the-job training. When you see people's work and work product, you have to be able to say to you didn't follow the direction, or you didn't follow the rubric, or this makes no sense, or you didn't do a rigorous job of this. Not only the work of the school, but when you go in and assess a teacher, you have to be able to deliver bad news. And the state of North Carolina says that you have to do it virtually, because a lot of delivery in schools nowadays has gone to online, even in K-12, has gone to online. And they want us to train you to do this not only face-to-face, but virtually. So these are required elements that we've got in this program. We didn't go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What would be good for us to make these people do? Hop on one foot and pat the top of their head. That's not what we're doing. We're following the state plan and this is part of the digital learning competencies that we have to do with Zoom. Now, if you want, when we get to Blackboard, when we get to Task Stream next week when we get to Task Stream, there's actually a section that shows you what they are. And you'll begin to understand, oh, that's why these old men are making us do this stuff. Oh, the state says that we have to learn this stuff. In order for the state to give us a license, we have to do these things. We don't have anything in this program that we just kind of came up with on our own. We are following the state plan in terms of student learning objectives. And we're covering the national standards from CATE, NISTE, ISTE, all of those as well. We've integrated all those in, but those were in the state standards anyway. But digital learning competencies, doing peer review, all these things are part of what an accredited program must have in order for you to get a state license. So none of the things that we talk about are optional. Anything that would be extra, we've already taken out. We only have the stuff that you need. We've made the commitment not to just be doing things because, it made us laugh to see y'all have to do it. All right.
I haven't heard from my clinical coach yet. Should I have received some type of communication for that?
Your clinical coach, who's your coach?
I don't even know.
Where do you live?
It's in Burlington, North Carolina. My school's in Liberty, Guilford County.
That's probably Dr. Marie. Let me check that right quick.
And Dr. Lamb, and that could be a possibility because I've communicated with mine, but I haven't scheduled appointments with my last few in the Raleigh area.
I am also Mr. Maury's I guess advisee, and I sent him my information, but he hasn't let us know like when we're supposed to meet.
Let me see. There we go. All right, who we got here? Carrie, you're on this list. That's correct. Maury. And he's not got in touch with you? Check.
I received an email requesting some dates. I sent that probably, before our first classes, but I haven't had any correspondence since.
Check your spam. He uses his Yahoo account too much, and sometimes it goes to spam. It always spams me. So check that. All right, let me go here and here. All right. Who else needs to hear from Mr. Marie?
Phoenix. I did send him my information, but he hasn't scheduled meetings.
Okay. I'll tell him to get I'll tell him to get in touch with you soonest with your dates or information soonest for your visits. All right. I'll send that to him now. Hopefully he'll get that. All right. Okay. Shaquanda's got a
And Dr. Lamb, most people should hear from somebody and should have most visits completed by the end of next week anyway.
Yep. I'm finishing mine Monday.
Yes. Well,
Of course, I didn't assign myself.
I have a few more than you to cover this time. So I will finish next week, but I've got to go to Raleigh and to Durham next week.
All right. So I'm going to see Melissa. She's with us tonight. I'm going to see her in the morning over at Isothermal at the REACH program over there, Lifelong Learning Center across from the soccer field. And then I'm going to see Sabrina Thursday morning down at Broome High School. And then I'm going to go see Jessica Monday afternoon at Chesney High School. So I believe that's the ones I've got on the schedule for right now. So I think we're good.
So Quanda, click on week 1, and week 1 you should be able to find the video.
Yep, I just commented. No need to reply. I heard you, gentlemen.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
All right. All righty. All right. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group before we go tonight? We're going to toughen you up, I hope. No.
We really are mean people, I promise you that.
What I'm hoping is that you will become more self-sufficient as we go. I understand that we need to support you up front. We don't mean to be ugly or poke you too hard, but we got to poke you a little bit.
TaskStream is not available yet, guys.
No, I told you we'll talk about TaskStream next week. We have to wait until after drop ad because those accounts cost big money.
Now we're coming online again Thursday night. I will send you another link.
We may have drop ad got extended another day this week because of the holiday on Monday, and a lot of people in the state were without power and internet after the storms that came through on the weekend, myself included. At my house in Lake Norman, I didn't have internet for the storms knocked the internet service out, and so a lot of people didn't have that, and so they've kind of extended drop ad another day. So I was hoping that we could start loading TaskStream accounts tomorrow. It'll probably be Thursday now, but we've had to extend drop ad. But again, they were without power on the main campus as well. Mandis lives on Lake Norman. I don't know which. I live on the Cornelius side. Our AT&T U-verse got knocked out. Was it Saturday night during the storms? She lives in Troutman. Yeah. When we turn in task 1, would you like for us to use the entire template? Yeah, I already put that in there. That'll be fine. You can use the entire template. You can just build on it every time on each task. And that allows us to read the previous task as well. To make sure you link to it. We like that. Just use the template.
Dr. Lamb, explain to them that at this point that when they submit something into Blackboard for comments, that we have to put a grade, and if there's nothing there or not enough there, it may end up being a 0 or 50 right now. That will change once they submit it correctly.
Sure.
So we have to put something in there, and if it's not what it needs to be, we can't say 100 and click it. So you're going to get, it may be a 0, but that doesn't mean it'll stay a 0 once you submit it, resubmit it later correctly. So does that make sense? Okay.
Dr. Stedman, have we ever had anybody not make an A in class?
I don't, unless they just simply didn't do anything. But now I will tell you, we had a student last semester. She said, she says, I've never been in the Army. She says, but I've been in the Army now. She says, I went through boot camp with 601.
Oh, it'll get better. Once you kind of figure it out, it'll get better. Yeah, you can email for more specific feedback. Yeah, you can. We'll talk to you privately. You can call. Somebody's calling me now. I haven't got through. Somebody's already calling me. You can call. We'll talk to you. Like drinking water from a fire hose. I agree.
I promise you, in 2 or 3 weeks, all of you can look back in 2 or 3 weeks, and you're going to you'll see things a lot differently. You just got to get there.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I promise you, you will. Yes, I see the question mark, Carrie.
Yeah. We have a good time. You've got to have a sense of humor if you're going to work this hard, I can tell you.
But now we're going to push you. I promise you, we're going to push you, and you're going to get mad with us sometime. That's okay. We don't care. We still going to work with you, and we're going to like you anyway. But we're going to tell it to you like it is, because at the end of the day, we want you to be successful when this program is over with.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to push you hard.
All right. What hours would be best to call for feedback? I don't know. What time is it now? 8:15. I'll be available till about 12:30 tonight. I normally sleep from 12:30 to 4:30.
Okay.
And after that, I'm pretty much available.
Joy,
4 hours.
Joy, we can talk after it's over with. Just give me a call. You got my phone number.
Dr. Stedman's older than me. He has to sleep more, so you better ask him about his hours. All right. We'll talk to you Thursday night, same time.
Okay. You're going to send me the link, Dr. Lamb.
I am. Y'all have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.